Hey everyone, my name is Cohmervac, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at, speculating if you will, about Overwatch Beta and what is to come. Off the bat real quick, if you're not already signed up for Beta, here's the link to do so. Make sure you do that because if you don't enter, you can't win. If you've just heard about Overwatch, I highly suggest taking a look at the videos and other things on the actual website because it's awesome. As of posting this video, we don't know the exact release date. What we do know is that it will be this fall, 2015. Here's a short clip on that.
Well, we announced the beta is coming in the fall, but I was reading our subreddit, and I saw that the date had already leaked.
Oh my, Reddit, yeah, we're Reddit knows best, right?
And they came up with it. I don't know how they got their hands on it.
The internet's never wrong, Jeff, let me tell you.
It is fall 10th. Fall 10th is
Gotcha.
when everybody will be playing the beta, apparently.
Yeah, probably not. Fall starts on the 23rd of September, so keep your heads up, probably won't be too long. Only time will tell, really. Although my personal guess would be October 1st through October 10th. Now let's get into some meat. Let's talk about the characters. I really love the art and story Blizzard has put into these characters, and I think they'll either really make or break the game. I've not seen anything as far as customization and alternate weapons go for the characters, and I don't think there will be hardly any, if at all. Specifically, I don't think we'll see other weapon choices. It looks like, as opposed to doing that, Blizzard makes up for it with just the sheer amount of characters that will be available, so that there is still a playstyle for everyone. On the other hand, I think there is a very good chance we could see alternate skins or model variation, things that you could unlock either via microtransaction or progress. Sort of like what we've seen with Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone. Naturally, that sort of talk leads into speculation about the payment model, but I'll get into that after the characters. So not long ago, in fact during the time I was making this video, a tweet was put out with what looks like to be the next two characters. I think we'll see these before beta is out. We've seen this big fella in the gas mask before.
I am your father.
And then this guy with the crazy hair and some concept art, but not much else is known at the moment. What about this green samurai dude? He's gotten quite a lot of concept art and is in some of the character lineup drawings right next to the big fella.
Your father.
There's no doubt we'll see him, but perhaps on the day of beta release or during beta as opposed to before, as some have speculated. So by the time this is released, how many characters will we be looking at? If I've counted right, at the time I've made this video, there are 16. Then there are 2 more coming from that tweet, and I'm sure we'll see the Green Samurai at some point. That makes at least 19, and by the time beta is over, who knows, there could be upwards of 20. That's a lot of characters to balance, but at the same time, remember, there probably won't be really any alternative weapon choices for the characters. Something I also noticed in the gameplay and display videos was that there did not seem to be an overall ammo pool for the weapons, just the clip sizes. Now, I personally like this, but let me know what you think about it. With that many characters, I think there really should be some concern about certain characters being too similar, too weak, and certainly the fear of some of them being too strong, as, you know, we see this a lot in games as they're going into beta. I mean, after all, what's beta for? The next factor is that each character has 2 extra energy or cooldown based abilities on consistent keys. Mix that with the consistent weapons per characters of different play styles, and you've got a game that should be pretty easy to get into while having a lot of room for mastery on many different levels. A good example of this would be Super Smash Bros. There looks like there will be a lot of emphasis on using your weapons with your character's given abilities for strategies and attack combos, which provides a lot of really nice extra depth, especially if, you know, you're someone who's looking for more out of an FPS game than the standard Call of Duty type shooter. We know that some characters have traits like Reinhardt, who is built from the ground up to be tough. He's also slower and is more or less limited to close range combat. On the other hand, we have characters like Tracer, who's been built to be fast and agile, harder to hit, but is also weaker and lacks alpha damage in her main weapons, and has a fairly limited range compared to a lot of the other characters. I really love that with a lot of these characters, you can already think of great ways to use their abilities and weapons in sync for powerful combos. For example, Zyra's Graviton Surge with her splash damage dealing particle cannon is just one sick combination. What's nice is that all of these character traits boil down into a few main classifications. We've got attack, tank, support, and defense roles. Based off of this, we can really see that Blizzard intends for a very team-based, synchronous play between characters and their overarching roles. Defense would be great for protecting objectives while they need attack rolls to cover their backs and get them where they need to go. On the other hand, the large and slow tank rolls could be easily overwhelmed by too many opponents working together, and therefore would sync up with support roles like Mercy to provide the extra longevity needed for extended combat. Attackers push, defenders keep the ground, tanks break positions, and support acts as a glue to keep the team momentum up. Now, as far as game modes go, it looks like they're gonna be control point and payload missions and mixtures thereof. There is apparently not going to be a deathmatch on the latter, and I actually really like this. I think that excluding that and sticking to game modes with clear objectives would keep things nice, even, and flowing. On the payment model, I'm expecting another free-to-play with unlockables and/or cosmetic items available via microtransactions like what we saw with Heroes of the Storm. I'm not going to doubt the possibility that it could be a one-time payment sort of thing like StarCraft and Diablo. It wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. I do think it is highly unlikely we'll see a subscription-based model like what World of Warcraft has, because you rarely ever see that with first-person shooter games. However, I do think we could perhaps see a premium mode with the free-to-play model that would surely not cross into the pay-to-win zone, but it would have certain advantages or benefits to the people who are paying. That being said, the fact that there are admittedly big plans for Overwatch in the esports realm further goes to make me think that the free-to-play model is the most likely. Regardless of how it turns out, I'll pay whatever it takes. This game is going to be worth it, and I'll totally spend money on it even if it's free-to-play. In the esports realm, I think we will at some point see a number of 6-player teams fighting more or less consistently in leagues and competitions, sort of like what you see with Dota or League of Legends. If it gets that big, there is a lot of money that could be made for a lot of people for sure. That being said, I believe that the casual player will still have plenty of non-competitive options while maintaining the ability to play and progress on a ladder, where he or she will hopefully be matched up with players that should be around the same skill level. We've seen some problems with that before, but I'm pretty sure that at this point they've figured it out. If esports for Overwatch is something you find interesting, please feel free to discuss it in the comments. I'm really interested to see what other people think about this. To wrap this video up, I'm going to talk about some more technical things. I think we will for sure see a 64-bit client. That seems to be the trend among many game developers lately, including Blizzard. I also would hope to see DirectX 12. It is certainly a possibility for this game, and the performance advantages of it are just amazing in most cases. I really love the crisp and stylized graphics of this game. In my opinion, it's better to go with stylized as opposed to gritty realistic, as shooting for realism could make a game look dated later, while stylized always more or less looks pretty good. The lighting, the shading, the textures, all look very good to me, and the characters just look so amazing while cartoony enough to completely avoid the uncanny valley. I also have to mention that the sounds are just so amazing, as they always are with Blizzard games, and I'm super excited to listen to a full soundtrack of the music too.
I've secured the payload. Let's move it out.
Now, I happen to be quite the PC enthusiast, and it looks to me that you should be able to run this game on Ultra in 1080p on, say, a medium-level gaming PC. An i5 or an FX 8350 with a medium-level GPU should suit this game well in 1080p. To me, it looks like it would almost be as demanding as Battlefield 3. With optimizations and newer technology and hardware, I think this game should perform pretty well on any decent PC, especially after beta, once the usual bugs are mostly ironed out. So, what about custom mods? Well, Blizzard games have never really been so moddable in the past, and I don't think we'll see, mods for this one either. I can't really say much more than this until the game is out. I'm talking about model, texture, audio, UI, and server-type mods. However, one area Blizzard has included in many games is a map editor for supported mods. I would love to see a map editor where you could create your own maps and gain access to more map controls to allow you to create your own game modes and then host these outside of the ladder in a lobby-type scenario. Alright guys, I hope you found my speculation interesting, and I would love to see your thoughts. I'm very excited for Overwatch, and I know many of you are too. Have a great one. Cohmervac signing off.